Hello, this is Arcades, and welcome to another quick start slash guide for Foundry. Today we're going to focus on basically setting up mass producing some incidentals that we're going to need later on. The first thing we're going to mainly work on is we're going to get electronic components. We are going to need them for the next video that I have planned after this. And right now we're basically got to take our Tecum rods and convert them into this. I have an idea of what to do with the play area that we've been working with, and we're gonna basically make a nice little room for it. So, basic ideas, we're gonna take Tecum rods that are coming in, throw them in through these machines, get them processed into wire and electronic components, and we'll get them stored up for use as we need to for the other systems. So, let's have fun and let's get to it. Okay, we're back in our play area for the guide. We have Tecum rods in that box right now. What we gotta do is get that from there to an area that we deem suitable for building all of our wire and electronic components. And the first thing we do is settle up an area. Now, I have an idea and a plan, and I'm gonna require a lot of blocks to do it. So give me a second and we will get started with this. Now the main thing is what I want to do is I'm trying to get this built up so we can make ourselves a small little mall for incidentals, because a lot of the early stuff, actually let's just grab it all, requires two main components. It requires the xenoferrite plates and the electronic components. So if we just get the electronic components automated, then we can build a little mall that has a lot of these incidental things like let's see here, like, you know, loaders require plates, and well, they require machinery parts. We'll need that too, but we already kind of have that being made, so we don't need to worry about it as much. But the loaders, even the solar panels, you know, power poles, even the transformer, the batteries, all these things are just a combination of plates and electronic components. A lot of some of this early stuff. Even stuff we don't have access to right now. Because, I mean, that takes just plates, doors. So, a lot of the stuff, a lot of the lights are especially the same way. So, all we got to do is get these things lined up all together, and we can make just a little mall that can create those items. So, we can just grab what we need and go build. And it'll just start making another selection of it. Okay, so give me a minute. I'm going to expand this area. And we'll start expanding from there. Okay, as you can see now, I have platform built up, gave it some room, and I decided to make some other preparations because, well, we're going to process some of the items up here. The actual mall itself is going to go down here. I know you can't see very well because how the lighting works in the game, but we've got a nice little big area I decided to dig out. And what we're going to do is we're going to bring the materials down here, create a little mall down here. The materials will come down and will get produced, and we can use this as our little storage area. And that's the plan. So, first thing we got to do is actually we got to route the Tecum, and we got to reroute the Tecum and the plates. Because we got to get this evenly, because we don't want to like give any one particular area a section of this setup priority, because if you give one section of priority, say it's first in line, it's going to take all the materials and it's going to take the most. So what we want to do is actually distribute this evenly, and the best way to distribute evenly between all the branches is with the thing that this game does really well, is with these logic cubes, or these logic containers. Now, the good news is, right now, we have this one down here. So that's holding on to that. It'll be able to split evenly between the two. But what I don't want is I don't want it to split evenly. I actually want it to mostly come up here. So the catch is this is going to have to come down from its own thing, because that's going to be incidental down there. This is, well, it'll split in half, but it'll only take like a minimal amount off of there. And then it stops, because it's only going to build like a stack inside each machine. I know this probably doesn't sound easy, but once you see it in action, it'll make a bit more sense. Now the fun thing is last time when we went to automate the tier 2, we made these 2 belts. Well, we now have to get these Techum rods off of here and over, and we're going to use that area to create the electronic components. And then from there, they will go downstairs and get fed into all the machines that are going to create our little mall, or at least the start of our mall. Now, we can do this one of 2 ways. I can actually adjust this belting so that it goes up and over, whatever this, or this goes up and over. Either way works. I'm going to go up and over since this is already established here, and I don't feel like moving it again. Or, I mean, there is another possibility, and this makes also a good setup, is I could put a logic container here to catch all the here, and then make a line out to each system that requires the components. Both are a good way to do this. It depends on what your priority's on, what you want to get filled first, and if you want it all to be distributed evenly. Is we're going to take one line, or a line to go downstairs after a pin's converted. So probably one of the easiest things we can do is may actually just take off this line, or put that cube there after all, because we're only wanting a limited amount. So we'll go from here across, make a little setup to turn the wire, or turn the rods into wire, and then the electronic components. Now, to do this, we're going to need, let's take a look at some of these recipes here. So we have 2 main recipes for this. We're going to go to the assembler, and under the configure, you go to components, and we have these 2 right here. This is what we're dealing with first. We have a wire coil, which requires 1 rod and turns it into 2 coil. Okay, simple enough, right? And then we have this one. This is, again, under components, and then we're going to look at the electronic components. It says, for 1 rod and 2 coils, we make an electronic component. So effectively, what this is saying, for 2 rods, so 1 rod here and 2 wire, but since 2 wire is 1 rod, so for 2 rods, so for 60 rods a minute, we get 20 electronic components a minute. Well, the thing is we want a little wire too, so that means we're going to need an extra machine just for to make that little extra wire. And this is going to be the base start. This is going to give us our beginning supply. This is, again, this is not a case of efficiency. This is a case of accessing. In other words, making it available to us. And that's the whole point of this setup right now. Not to make it efficient, not to even saturate like that one over there. It's just to make it available. It may take time for it to build up, but either way, this is the point. So, since we're wanting to do 2 wire setups, and one of the wires is going to go into making electronic components, that means we're going to need 20, 60, 100 rods a minute just for this alone. Thankfully, we're actually not using that many rods over here, because that doesn't use any rods. The building blocks use rods, and the Mark 1, or the Research 1, takes rods. That takes like 16. We got 2 of them, so that's 32 a minute there. And the blocks are not that much either. Yeah, 36. So 36 plus 32 will be 68. Okay, so out of the 160 we're making, we got 68 going into this setup here. So we actually have more than enough to make this setup right here and not have to worry about overstressing our output right now. So, in fact, I'm going to move these. We'll give them a bit better setup. And I want to make them ready to send stuff downstairs, and this area is probably the best. So I'm going to readjust them and be right back. Okay, so I hopped a belt over here. It has the Technum rods. I set up 2 assemblers right here for the wire. And what we're going to end up doing is we're going to bring this down to here, and then we're going to create 2 lanes right across here. And that's how that's going to be for now. I'm going to grab the next one, and we're just going to plop it right at the end of the line. Say about, about right here. We'll put that one there. And this one will actually be our electronic components. Now, we're going to take and we're going to grab, this is going to grab the Technum rods off of this line. And we're going to grab wire there. These guys are going to output wire there. Whoops, nope, wrong one. I need the second lane loader. So what I'm going to do is second lane loader is now going to, for these guys, is going to output the wire onto the lane where this needs to pick them up, which is right there. However, their inputs, whoops, for the Technum rods are going to be right here. So you can see they're already doing what they need to. So the Technum rods come in, they pick them up, and then they spit them out onto this lane of wire, which then is brought in and picked up by this for the electronic components. You see? And it creates this kind of like zipper effect. I always like when they get them intertwined like this, I just call it a zipper. Okay, so now we have production of the wire. We have excess wire being made. So if we need it for anything, we now have electronic components. This is the important one, though. This is the important one. Now, you have 2 choices you can do here. We can either leave it as is, or what I'm actually going to do is double it up. Since we have 2 machines over there creating wire, we're going to create 2 assemblers. And what I want to do is have 2 machines creating. So that means I won't have any free wire because it's all getting taken up by the electronics components, but there's very few things that require wire straight up. So we're just going to do that for now. You can still leave it as 1 and just stockpile up the wire for a mall scenario, or you can do as I'm doing here. So we're just going to repeat this. We'll put that to there. Put that one there. And that's good to go. Now, outputs. Now here comes the interesting part. Now I showed you I've got that big area down there. What we're going to do to help us out first is we're going to make a few ceiling lights. As you see, xenoferro plates and electronic components. Plates and components. Plates, components, and rods for that one. A lot of the stuff just plates and components. So that's what we're doing. Alright. Now, lighting in this game is a little tricky. Well, it's not tricky per se. It is interesting. I'm only putting down enough to just get the area lit up. So I always like to start personally when it comes to lighting. For whatever edge you have at the moment, where you know you're going to start at, go 3 in. Basically 3 in, 3 in. So I'm actually going to do right here on number 4. And then from there, count 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And put it on that spot. and you want to go about every 7 blocks. This is my preferred choice. Depending on what you want, how your lighting to be distributed, you can go closer, you can go farther. It's up to you. This is my preferred method. See, that's 6 and that's 7. Because you notice that lights up the area, but there's just a little bit of area in between. And then I want to go 7 back again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Whoops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Give it a little hop. And all I did is now I can see these alignment, and I don't have to really count. All I gotta do is just match the alignment. And we have some light down here. Okay, now, what else we're gonna... Give me a moment. I'm gonna build up this area a bit so we can actually bring some equipment down, and we will get up to the mall. Okay, so I am done building at least part of the room, as much as I want to. As you can see, I got it all lit up. I ended up grabbing some blocks, and we sealed off that side. I don't know if I'm going to be using that, but if we need to get past there, we can just drop the blocks. I have a feeling we're going to build that way more than this way, because it's more open on that side. So that's how I decided to leave it. Okay, so here's the thing. Now we're going to build our little mall. What we need to do is we're going to grab these ferrite plates. We're basically going to come across here, and we're going to put a whole bunch of assemblers down, and they will each be producing a common item we will need to work with. We're going to do the same for those electronic components. They're going to come down here, and machinery parts. All of them are going to get fed down into this area so that our little wall of assemblers will grab what they need to make the item they're supposed to make. So, give me a moment and I will work on those belts. And boom, we have ourselves the mall built. One hand. So, show you what I did. I got this line right here coming off this box. It will have the xenoferrite plates coming across. Each of these machines will grab the plates off the front for this, and each of the then from the back side here. Oh, forgot a little bit here. For the back side, we have a few extra machines. We have tech and rods coming down here. On this line, we have, I believe it is machinery parts. Yeah, it's machinery parts. So we got machinery parts coming down here, and in the middle lane, that should be electronic components. Now we got our electronic components upstairs. Now as you can see, we got all these belts coming down below. This one's the electronic components, comes down here, does a little turnaround, and feeds through all these systems down that way. This one's the mechanical parts. They come down, splits here, goes to these set of assemblers, and goes down that way for these assemblers. And then finally, I have this coming down so that I can, with conveyor ones, I should say. They get taken in here to make conveyor 2s, and into here to make the slopes, and then the slopes mark 2, or the slope 2s. So this way I have access to slopes and conveyors. Alright, and then down here, this is set up for, I got a few spaces for extra stuff coming in here. Now, something that, while I've been doing this, I've been researching a whole bunch of stuff, so the only thing I have left is this stuff right here. And this all requires steel, basically. And I didn't want to get to that till, I believe the next video. We will be working on starting collecting steel. So, until then, we will just leave that at now. But this is what I have left to research, because I wanted to go over that. The rest of the stuff was basically incidentals, just like the map scans, unlock the walkways, which I will go over. I will probably go over next time. Unlocked lights, unlocked explosives, which I will go over later on. And the steel machinery parts and all the steel related stuff. So I have all that unlocked, and I will go over it as needed, but right now it is unlocked for our playthrough here, or for our playthrough world. So yeah, and then what it is, and what we're going to do now that we have this, to get it rolling, all I've got to do is come to these machines, turn on the outputs, turn on the output here, turn on this output here, and this is the belt output. I actually had to switch these around. Originally they were this way, but for convenience sake I turned them around, switched their places. All I had to do was literally, as I said, just switch them and reorganize these. So if it looks different from previous videos, that's why. All I did was swap them around so that I could put the belts out down that way. And for the final one, over here, these pair will have our electronic components. Now, ideally, now I should go actually ahead and add this onto the line. We're gonna make a container that will actually sit about right. Let's put it right there. And we're going to switch that to an in and out. So that way, as this thing runs, and once these all... See, these things will all hold one stack of the item. As you can see, they're all should be running. Electronic components are being used by all of these, so it'll probably take a little bit to get down here. But these are all items that I won't necessarily use in large quantities. I may have like a stack of them on mine. The only exception here being probably the conveyor 2s and possibly the conveyor slopes. But even then, I think at most a stack of conveyor slopes. Because we got like stairs, yeah, I don't know that. The railings, a stack of that. Walkways, however, are a big difference, and I'll go over that on why on that one later. But I will need to store a larger number of that. We got signs. I should go over those. Here we got assemblers, so that way I can get a hold of them. Is this one actually already full? Yeah, it's already full. This one's empty for a reason. We have the second lane loaders here. This is for the second lane or the third lane loaders. And we got the regular loader, which is these. And then we got the lights. We got the ceiling lights, the wall lights. We got the light poles, which I have not shown yet, but... And then we got batteries and the solar panels. And what it is like I said, these will all go up here, and they will get used by all this, and they will use them until they get full. Until they hold a stack of them in the output, and then whenever I need them, I just come up here and click on that button, and it puts it in my inventory. So, and that's the big deal. Now, for a little bit of, no, I didn't want to, dang it. There we go. So, just to help things out with the belting later, we're going to put this here. We're going to take one of those there, one of those there, and there we go. Then I'll feed some conveyor 2s into here so they can be stored up and should be good to go. So yeah, that's pretty much most of what I wanted to do for this video. We ended up smoothing out some of the stuff. I believe. I don't think I missed anything. But we just rearranged. We got ourselves electronic components automated. We got ourselves a mall using all those built up. And yeah, so next video, we're going to start with probably one of the next big important steps for this game. Now that we have all the basics set up here. Yeah. So this is probably the end of Tier 2 research, like stuff to get. And we just need to start getting ourselves towards the Tier 3 and the next stage in gameplay for here. So yeah, hope you had a good time. Hope you enjoyed what you watch. Like, subscribe, and if you got anything you want to ask, put it in the comments, and I'll do the best I can to answer it. This is Arcades, signing out. Hope you had a good day. Hope you enjoyed yourself.